Hi everyone, welcome back with another video of Page Turners. Today we are going to discuss A.K. Ramanujan's famous poem Obituary. A.K. Ramanujan was an Indian poet born in 1929 and who died at 64 years old in Chicago of Illinois. Ramanujan wrote in numerous genres and in both English and Kannada. His work is well loved for his engagement with various cultures and a wide variety of applicable themes. He is he is remembered as a playwright, folklorist, and a translator who spent time studying linguistics and culture, as well as a laud professor at the University of Chicago. Ramanujan received the Sahitya Academy Award after his death in 1993. He was also honored with the title of Padma Shri, the fourth highest civilian award in India. Obituary by A.K. Ramanujan describes the aftermath of a father's death and all the things he left behind, the physical and emotional. Obituary. In this poem, Ramanujan explores the universal toll a parent's passing can have and a child and all the ways that their memory remains even after their death. Now, let us go through some of the basics of this poem. Obituary is an 8-stanza poem that is separated into set of 7 lines. These lines do not follow a specific rhyme scheme, but that does not mean that there aren't moments of rhyme and rhythm in the text. For example, Ramanujan makes use of slant or what we can say half rhymes. These are seen through the repetition of assonance or consonants. This means that either a vowel or consonant sound is reused within one line or multiple lines of verse. There are a few examples of this kind of rhyme in the first stanza with the words that are what we can say papers, daughters, and on, and grandson. These words do not rhyme perfectly. Okay, they are not rhyming words, but what we can say, they are just similar, clearly similar. In the fourth stanza, we could see the ending of the first 3 lines are connected. It is due to the similarity in assonance. The long E sound is repeated. For example, we can go through gingerly, priest, east, like that. Okay. Now, alliteration is another technique found in obituary. It helps to create additional moments of rhyme for the text and also at times helps sometimes of tone. Let us look at the example. One example is about debts and daughters in the very first stanza. The relationship between these 2 words is somewhat humorous. We can say they are not similar things. Debt one side and daughters another side. Actually, poet is picturizing the Indian culture through this poem. We can see in most of the lines. I will discuss when I go through the poem. And now here debt and daughters means extremely different things or different meaning they have. But what the poet is telling that debt is a burden for a man because he have to pay the money. Similarly, daughters are also considered as burden in Indian folk tales. Even now too, okay. And the fact that they begin with the same letter only emphasizes this fact. That means debt and daughter, the only similarity is that they start with same letter. Actually, this poem begins with the speaker who is telling the readers that his father is died. When he died, he left behind a lot of things. These are the unless and meaningless things like dust, old papers, like that. But there are also memories and rituals which are going to last lifetime. These are actually considered as the leftover things. We know that when a person is died, we are conducting the annual rituals in every year. That means we are memorizing that person on that day, and are also praying for him. This is considered in all of the religion, if I think so. And also this kind of uh, happenings is mostly seen in every cultures, not only in Indian culture but in every cultures. And also in the second half of the poem, the speaker is describing about the cremated, how the father is cremated, that this father and through his leftover bones into the river. He also speaks about something he learned but is yet to see with his own eyes. Apparently, his father left an obituary in a local paper. Now the son is searching the most popular papers for it, hoping to see this other thing he left behind. The poem ends with an emphasis on the importance of the rituals that came from his father and are also now established parts of family life. Now let us go through the poem. In this, among these lines, I noted it in red color. These are the leftover things the poet directly means, and I will now let us go through the poem. Father, when he passed on, left dust on a table of papers, left depth and daughters, a bedwetting grandson named by the toss of a coin after him. In the first stanza of obituary, the speaker begins by telling the reader who died, his father is died. Now the speaker focuses on what the father left behind. There were utterly normal things that we can see, but they have a new importance here, such as dust on table of papers, debt and daughters, etc. The father also left behind a grandson named after him. This shows that we know that A.K. Ramanujan is from a Brahmin family. In his culture, grandson was named after him, or the grandsons are giving the name of their fathers or grandfathers. It is by tossing a coin. That means A.K. Ramanujan's father's name is given to the son of A.K. Ramanujan. That is, we can call A.K. Ramanujan's son as the same name of his own father. It is by after tossing a coin he got that name. It's just a kind of belief, and from this line we can understand that how observative he is. He is pointing out the very minute culture of his religion. And also the second stanza: a house that leaned slowly through our growing years on a bent coconut tree in the yard. Being the burning type, he burned properly at the cremation. In the very second stanza of this poem, he lists out the things the father left behind gross. There was a house. I think it's not in red in color. Now let me point out what are the things. Okay, note it out. It is the house. But what is the condition of house? It is very lean and almost in a destroyed manner, ruined manner. And the next one is the coconut tree in the yard. The coconut tree he mentioned here is very bent. The coconut tree is very bent. And the next thing is number of things like burning could allude to the practices associated with the farming. Okay, the burning means that things associated with the farming are the most obvious thing, and also make it more complicated and relate it more easily to the laws. What it means when there's he had some farming activities, but The burning in farming means actually it's a negative thing. What it means that they have a failure in their agriculture as well. Okay, they have loss in their life. And the speaker compares his father's habit of burning to the way he burned promptly when he was cremated. Also, speaker, the poet is telling that his father is completely cremated. And also the what we can say, the speaker is too heavily on loss and depression. Instead, he is celebrating his father's life. Okay, next, as before, easily and at both ends left his eye coins in the ashes that didn't look one bit different, several spinal discs rough, some burnt to coal for suns. In the next lines, he refers to the eye coins. Actually, this is related to the tradition of putting coins on a dead person's eye when they are buried. It is also the keen observation in among their rituals. And the next one is he draws the attention to the fact that the coins didn't burn. The coins are not burned. They were left in the ashes. So it also considered as a leftover thing. Looking at the same as when they went into the fire. Alongside the coins are several spinal discs. Unlike the coins are rough. Also spinal disc means the leftover bones he is mentioning here. These are left for his son. In the very next line, we can go through it. To pick gingerly and throw, as the priest said, facing east where three rivers met near the railway station, no long-standing headstone with his full name and two dates. Here, the son, the speaker, and his brothers engage in ritual of throwing these bits of bone facing to the east, where the three rivers are actually met, and it is near railway station. The speaker is mixing the traditional and mysticism with reality. This ritual happens somewhere normal, right near a train station. He goes on to describe how they chose not to have a headstone for their father. The very important thing here is he is mentioning about the cremation practice in Hindus and the cremation practice in Christians. Here he mentioned about the headstone, full name, two dates. That means if it is a Christian burial, what we can see, the person is buried with a headstone. That headstone have the details of that person. What we give the name of the full name of the person, his birth date. Here two dates means the birth date and death date. So the headstone will consist of the full name, the birth date, and the death date of the died person. So what we can say, in among the Christian burials, it is also considered as the leftover thing. But actually in Hindu culture, after cremation, nothing is remained. Only some of the burns and ashes, especially the eye coins like that. So he's mentioning about that here. And also we can also how we can read the two dates. We can read as the life between the death and birth. Two dates means the life extending from birth to death. You can also read in such a way. Okay. To hold in their parentness, everything he didn't quite manage to do himself, like his Caesarean birth in a Brahmin ghetto and his death by heart failure in the fruit market. The parentheses which would go around the dates would have represented everything he didn't quite manage to do himself. That is what we can say. The kind of things the speaker is thinking of are the father's birth and his death. He was born in a Brahmin ghetto. This very stanza gives the information or background of the poet's poem. That is, father belongs to a Brahmin ghetto, and also he died of heart failure in fruit market. So how the poet's father is dead? He had heart failure in fruit market. That shows that it was not an expected death. He was not aged or bedridden. Instead, it was a sudden, unexpected call from God, we can say. So, what he is mentioning that throughout the life of his father, he doesn't do anything to manage his life, and simply the death unexpectedly uh, called him, and there is nothing he left for his sons and daughters. And the next stanza. But someone told me he got 2 lines in an inside column of Madras newspaper sold by the kilo exactly 4 weeks later to street hawkers. In this poem, actually what he meant is someone, the father has left something behind. What is the left behind thing here? 2 lines in the Madras newspaper column. What is that? It is obviously the obituary line. Okay, that means we often see the death column in newspapers. It is mentioning that this person with his photograph died due to this and like that, details giving. So poet says that it is the leftover thing of his father, but the son doesn't. The son doesn't know exactly which paper or where the lines are, but he did hear that it is sold by the kilo and turn up with the street hawkers or those on the street selling goods 4 weeks later. In these lines, the poet makes use of half rhyme with newspaper and street hawkers. That means uh, yeah, it's right, because some obituary lines are written in the news columns, but what happened to it later? It is sold to the street hawkers or food sellers, because they have to pack the food from their shops and give to the customers. This also shows the Indian culture. Okay, and the next stanza. Who sell it in turn to the small groceries where I buy salt, coriander, and jaggery in newspaper cons that I usually read. These sellers bring their papers to where these sellers are bringing the papers to the grocery stores where the speaker goes to buy normal everyday products like salt, coriander, jaggery. These are showing the Indian culture. Buying these Indian foods, they are considered as a normal products of the life, and buying these, how he is buying, by folding it in the paper cones. And the next stanza. For fun and lately, in the hope of finding these obituary lines, and he left us a changed mother and more than one annual ritual. This is the last stanza of poem. In this stanza, the speaker describes the reading of the paper and hoping to find the obituary lines. Their presence is one thing the father left behind, along with everything else mentioned in the previous stanzas. And the poem ends with the speaker describing how his mother has changed. What it means: after the death of the father, his mother become in mourning stage. So mourning mother is also considered to be a leftover thing, because after all, she would be in another condition and expression of life. And also now he adds the family is left with an annual ritual which was started by a man who is no longer alive. And also about the annual ritual, it is also considered as the leftover thing of his father, because every year or annually they are performing the annual ritual for the remainder of this dead person, and it also be considered as the leftover thing. And in this poem, actually what the speaker taught is to about the Indian cultures, the condition of the family, the burden of a son after the death of his father, and like that. Also he is humorously or satirically mentioning death, considering death and daughters as similar, but actually he is using the satire here. He is not actually telling they are same, but it was, and it is, and it will be the condition of the society and the people. That is what he mentioned through this poem. And I think it is very easy, and somehow you will understand by just one reading itself. Okay, then let us meet again with another video. Thank you all.